What? What? Wait a minute. Superman died? Superman's dead? Oh, Superman died in 1993. Well, who the heck just did those movies? I'm confused. I'm also Eric Allen, and this is College Success Coaching. Let's get started. So aside from the doomsday information that I just apparently got a little late, is it 25 years? So a little late. Let's hit the mug of the week just because it's already up here. Composition book. It's really important. Speaking of the 90s, in 1993, Superman died and marble notebooks were king until Trapper Keeper and Five Star started muscling their territory. Yeah, see? And they started taking them out. Then they started moving into other things like Kindles and tablets. And now there's Chromebooks in every classroom. And if you watch one of my other videos, you will find out that that's a $60 billion a year hoax, but that's a story for another time. You can check that video out on the page. CSC's always got something for you to see that's interesting and amusing. So how are you, beautiful ladies, gentlemen, dogs, if you're watching with your people, and cats if you're trying to step on the keyboard right now? How are you all? I am very happy to say Thanksgiving is over. The Turkocalypse has subsided, and the fallout is minimal. Just lots and lots of dead turkeys. The statistic is astounding. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and we are ready to talk about the article of the week. Yeah, I have that music's always in my head for the intro. Watch the YouTube video. If you're one of my live people and you're watching the live stream, you really should check out the YouTube videos because the article of the week, I have this like awesome music that's there for it. And if you're one of my YouTubers in general and you're not on the subscription service, why not? What's going on? Do we need to talk? We could set up a one-to-one. Email me, eric@collegesuccesscoaching.com. Otherwise, check the link in the description and get started already. It's a 2-week free trial, and then you get $50 a week for like all of the awesome things that we do, the questions, the answers, the experts, the advice, me, more of me, more direct access to me. I will definitely respond to your emails in a quick and efficient and accurate manner. If you're not a subscriber, you can email me. I'm going to give you the wrong answer. I won't. I'll try to answer your questions anyway, but it is tough. And I really do give preferential treatment to my subscribers. I also am an expert at this whole middle school, high school, college, and beyond thing. That's what I obsess over every day. I'm up early every day and I'm up late every night working on this stuff to bring it to you. So it's worth it. And it's less than an Uber ride to New York City. Anyway, thank you for all coming today and listening for our wonderful information center for mid-year tuition hikes, cuts to higher education funding in Nebraska, not likely. So I wanted to go over an article this week for all of my seniors out there. You've probably already applied to your college because you were probably talking to me and listening to me. And so, you were ready to go by October 31st because, you're a good one. I'm very excited to say that now you have college tuition to worry about. You're welcome. I mean, it's probably not that bad because you went to a school where you got money, right? You got that tuition money. Scholarships are really important. Don't do drugs. You can apply for other scholarships if you need to. And go back and look at my first video on this channel, which is Consider Work Study. I am amazed always when I talk to people and they do not consider doing work study because they don't feel like it. And that's thousands of dollars out of your FAFSA being left on the table. So if you are eligible for a work study, remember they put that into your financial aid package. So it is literally money you are missing out on if you're not doing a little bit of work on campus to help get those dollars. So anyway, I wanted to bring this to your attention because something that people do not factor in when they're looking at their college costs and their financial aid package and their scholarships and their work study is your college tuition can go up while you're there. That's right. There's no grandfathering of making your college tuition lower. It just goes up for the year. So this article is called Mid-Year Tuition Hikes, Cuts to Higher Education Funding in Nebraska, Not Likely. So I bring up Nebraska because this is a state where they've recently had a lot of back and forth on this. Higher education officials in Nebraska expect mid-year cuts of state money won't be necessary early next year. Because of this, University of Nebraska President Hank Bounds has said he won't have to use a rare mid-year tuition increase this school year to make up for the lagging state money. So they were going to increase the tuition mid-year. So tuition hikes are pretty common throughout a 4-year period and year to year. They were going to increase semester to semester because they were looking at getting their funding cut by the state of Nebraska. So remember, state-funded schools are getting funding from the state. Don't do drugs. And even private universities are getting funding from the federal government and the state government, and it's subsidized from people's FAFSAs and the Department of Education and other funding sources. So when the funding goes down, the tuition goes up. So any background money that they're getting from a donor or something like that, if it's a private institution, or from a state or government or whatever, if they're a state or a community college, they all rely on that to not increase the money that you have to pay out every year. So I'm going to read a little bit more into this, and then I am going to talk more about how this impacts you and how to prepare for it. So public higher education in Nebraska has endured mid-year state funding cuts over each of the past 2 budget years because of the weak state finances. State funding of college operating budgets has been challenged the past few years in Kansas, Iowa, and many other states. So this is kind of a bigger phenomenon than just Nebraska. The struggling farm economy has played a role, but there are other landscape issues to look at throughout the country that make it so that it's difficult for many state-funded institutions, not just in the Farm Belt. Thomas Harnish of the American Association of State Colleges and Universities said that in more than a dozen states, including Iowa, per student state funding for public higher education has declined by more than 25% since 2008. So it's gone down a quarter in 10 years. Down. Like, you know how stuff gets more expensive over time, and it's called inflation and stuff like that? This has gone down a quarter during a decade period. That's a huge decrease in state funding, which means really that savings got passed right on to you. You're welcome, cheeseheads. State Senator John Stinner of Gering said the pictures look better for higher education in Nebraska than it has in recent past. Cuts, Stinner said, it's very, very doubtful. So they're excited that there's not more cuts this year than the 25% decrease in funding over 10 years. I mean, that should tell you a little bit about where we're at. We are not able to continue to increase the budgets for all of the social programs that we have state to state, including higher education. It's one of the things that's going to start to get eked out. And so the onus of responsibility is going to fall on the students, you. So be careful where you applied. Look at where you applied. Did you apply in the Midwest? Did you apply in places in the South, on the east side of the country? Did you apply in California? All of these states have a challenging budget, and that budget really kind of sees college as a cost that they could cut. So it's not like, well, we have to make sure the lights stay on. Yeah, okay. They don't have to pay for college. So the state universities, state schools are like, wow, we really need to figure out how to survive. We just raised tuition again. And so you'll see like your state schools will go up and up and up and up. And this has just been such a massive trend in the last 10 years. State schools in some places are getting to be as expensive as private schools because at least private schools have endowments. So it's turning out that the private sector schools have this great amount of money donated to them through alumni channels that state schools just don't. And so these state schools that are relying on federal and state funding, they fall short year over year because the government cannot match what endowments are able to match, because people from good schools do really well and then they give money back because they're proud of their alumni. And, so the bottom line is you are going to see that going to a state school is not necessarily your automatic route to cheaper college. Now, it is true in a lot of schools. There are state schools that are below $10,000 a year in tuition. Yeah, I said below $10,000. Look it up. Look at Arizona. Arizona has some great schools that are really inexpensive and they're up and coming. They're doing really well. They're doing great things. So, it's not all doom and gloom. But what I'm saying is look at where you applied to, and then look at all the things that you can do in the next 4 years to increase how much money you can contribute to your tuition and see if it still makes sense. A great idea would be to go back and look at the information that we had with our financial planner, Chris Pazienza, or to contact him simply and ask him if you want to get a plan together on how can I plan my finances for the next 4 years. He is actually an expert in planning finances. I don't claim to be an expert in that. I'm an expert in the kind of how we can make more out of ourselves and get a better than great experience out of middle school, high school, and college and beyond. But yeah, finances, talk to an expert in finances. That's Chris. So email me if you need that information. Again, I'm more than happy to give it to you, eric@collegesuccesscoaching.com. And I'll just connect you to, and you can talk. And he is able to give great advice, and he could potentially be your financial planner. He can work across state lines. So good luck out there, and hopefully you can get some great information on how you can plan for your financial future in colleges where it does seem to be going up over and over again, year over year, in tuition. So that's the article of the week. All right, everybody. I'm really happy to have discussed the article of the week with you and to talk about Nebraska and other states and how they're doing their funding. But again, remember, this is not the end. This is not over. We learned some things about how to plan ahead, and oh my gosh, it turns out tuition goes up like everything else. Like it kind of like could go up like gas prices and go all the way up to $4 a gallon from when it was $1.50. And that would be really tough. And so transfer would then have to be one of your options on the table if you did not plan this out ahead of time. Be responsible financially for yourself. Remember that you are getting into a situation. You're either 18 or almost 18. That's legally an adult. You can get into contracts. You can have bank accounts. You can start funds. Like, be responsible. Act like the adult that I know you are. If you're here and you're listening to this and you're watching this, hey, we all know you're the top of the top. You're a high achiever. Be the adult that you want to be now, and then just keep becoming a better adult. There's no reason why you have to say to yourself, well, I'm still a kid. You're not. You're not. Let's be real. So for all of you who are on the YouTubes, I have to say goodbye to you right now. Join us. Come on next week. Ask me some questions. Email me, and I'll take into consideration what it is that you want to know about. In the meantime, if you are a member and you're a subscriber, you can always send me a message to let me know what question that you want to have answered and what topic that you'd like me to do some research on and present something to you guys on. I love doing that. That's one of my favorite things. And that's where most of my ideas for article reviews come from, is conversations with you guys. So again, sign up, collegesuccesscoaching.com, become a member. It's painless, it's free for 2 weeks, and then it's cheap, and it's still totally worthwhile. We're having a great time in this community. We support each other, and we're doing better than just great in school. I think that's a really big deal. So, all right, see everybody else.